Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, till the last class we discussed up to, who did we come up to? Hanuman. And the Hanuman indicated to the Pandavas. So, 5th chapter is starting off with Hanuman, with the Pandavas. So where do the Pandavas stay? The Pandavas stay in Hastinapur. So this is after the battle of Kurukshetra was over. This incident took place after the battle of Kurukshetra was over, and the Pandavas became the king, and Krishna went back to Dwarka. And for a long time, Pandavas didn't get to see Krishna. So when Narada Muni arrived in Pandavas' palace in Hastinapur, Hastinapur is also not too far from here. Hastinapur is today's Delhi. Do you remember why Hastinapur is called Hastinapur?
Very accurate
Yeah, very good. Actually, it's expensive to maintain an elephant. So those days, yes. Oh, because the city was very opulent, and those days the opulent was marked or signified by how many elephants there were. And the whole city had many elephants. People, residents of the city had many elephants. The whole city was full of elephants. And therefore, the city was named Hastinapur. Pur means the city. Hastina. So, Pandavas, headed by Yudhishthir, were actually planning how to bring Krishna back to Hastina. Now their bad times are over, and Krishna left for Dwarka. Krishna went back to Dwarka, and Krishna got absorbed. Actually, when Pandavas were in distress, then Krishna came to their rescue time and time again. So many times, whenever Pandavas were in distress, Krishna was with them. So, Krishna actually even went to the forest when Pandavas were in exile. And Krishna actually went and met the Pandavas a few times. Once, Durvasa, which is actually not far from here, there is a place called Kammevan. There is a temple of Vrinda Devi. The Pandavas were residing there, and Duryodhana wanted to create some misfortune for Pandavas, and Duryodhana sent Durvasa to the Pandavas. And Durvasa was accompanied by 64,000 disciples. And Durvasa arrived with his disciples to the Pandavas, and naturally, and they arrived at a time when it was lunchtime. They were expecting to eat something, and they naturally wanted to eat something. They expected some lunch. But for Pandavas who were residing in the forest at that time, it was not easy to arrange for so many people. Had they been kings, they could have arranged, but in the middle of the forest. And also Duryodhana knew that Draupadi had the blessing that Krishna gave Draupadi a pot, and that the condition was that pot will provide food for unlimited number of people every day. Till Draupadi ate. Draupadi was the last to eat. And after Draupadi ate, then the pot will be finished. So Duryodhana knew about it. So Duryodhana sent Durvasa at a time when Draupadi also finished her lunch. And so Draupadi was in distress, and Durvasa is famous for cursing people. he for no rhyme, not for no rhyme or reason, for a little reason, for some, whenever he found some reason, he would curse. In the history of India, Durvasa is famous for curse. And very afraid that if Durvasa cursed, probably the Pandavas will be finished. And that's what exactly Duryodhana wanted. Duryodhana wanted to finish the Pandavas by the curse of Durvasa. And the Pandavas very hospitably, warm-heartedly requested Durvasa to go to the river and and take a bath and come back, and prasadam will be arranged for them. But then when they went, Yudhishthira asked Draupadi. Draupadi said she finished eating already. So there is no way that they could provide for so many people. So Draupadi, in great anxiety, started to pray to Krishna. And Krishna just arrived. Krishna said, "What happened? Why are you calling me?" Actually, Krishna was very fond of Draupadi. Krishna used to call Draupadi as Shokhi, my friend. And so Draupadi expressed to Krishna what actually happened. And Krishna could understand that this was actually a conspiracy of Duryodhana. Then Krishna said, "Give me something to eat. Just give me anything that you have." And Draupadi said, "Everything is finished. I just polished off the whole pot." Then Krishna said, "See if there is anything left." And then she found a small little grain of rice sticking in one corner of the pot. Then Krishna just took that grain and Krishna felt satisfied. And when Krishna felt satisfied, the whole universe became satisfied. And Durvasa and his disciples all became satisfied. At that time they actually came out of taking bath and they started to belch out of satisfaction, out of a good meal. Like as if they had a very satisfying meal. And they felt very bad. They felt that, we already are so full. And if we go to the Pandavas, they must have arranged some very nice opulent prasad for us. And if we don't go to them, if we go there and don't eat, the Pandavas will feel very insulted. So to save them from that, to save myself from the Pandavas, this favor, let me just run away. So Durvasa didn't even go back to the Pandavas. With his disciples, Durvasa just went away. So in this way, time and time again, Krishna came and helped the Pandavas. Narada, come sit down.
No problem.
Yeah? Then pull up a chair and sit. So in this way, Pandavas were favored by Krishna. And all of you know how Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna and saved Arjuna so many times. And that's what Arjuna was praying. That the battle of Kurukshetra was like being in an ocean infested with ferocious aquatics like sharks, whales, timingilas. Timingila, are you familiar with the fish? Timingila is a fish that eats whales. Just as whales eat small fish, similarly Timingila actually eats the timis or whales. So they're such huge fishes. And who are they? They're actually Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Kripa. They're all valiant Maharathis. And Arjuna and the rest of the Pandavas were saved they survived the battle of Kurukshetra, defeating the enemy. How did it happen? Because of Krishna. Krishna so many times saved Arjuna. So many times in the battle of Kurukshetra. And Krishna gave them the advice also. The very timely advice. It is because of Krishna's advice that Arjuna killed Karna. Once one very deadly weapon was released for Arjuna. It was actually, the other day I told you, Takshaka's son took after, in Pandava forest, one Mahasharpa was killed. And his son took a vow to kill Arjuna. And he was waiting for the time to take revenge. And that there was a time when Drona released one weapon that was meant to kill Arjuna. But what Krishna did, Krishna made the chariot sink right at that time. And it just went flying. The arrow, which was actually the snake was in that arrow, who was kind of determined to kill Arjuna. As the chariot sank right at that moment by Krishna's pressure, simply took off Arjuna's helmet from his head. Couldn't hit Arjuna's body, but just hit Arjuna's helmet. When Dronacharya took a vow that he would kill Arjuna, Dronacharya one day was insulted by Duryodhana. Duryodhana told him that Dronacharya was being partial towards the Pandavas, especially towards Arjuna. And that's why he was not fighting with full power, with full vengeance. And for Dronacharya, that insult was very, very painful. So he immediately took a vow that, okay, tomorrow I will kill Arjuna. And so Dronacharya started to fight in a very valiant way, and everybody felt that today Arjuna is finished. No one can save Arjuna. And then Krishna actually gave them an advice. He said the only way we can stop Dronacharya is by announcing that his son Ashwatthama is dead. Because Dronacharya was very affectionate towards his son. And if Ashwatthama died, then Dronacharya would have stopped to fight. So the news spread around like that the Pandavas spread the rumor that Ashwatthama is dead. But Dronacharya didn't believe. Bhima went and told him, he said, Bhima, I don't believe you. Because Ashwatthama actually had a boon that he would be immortal he would live till the end of the day of Brahma. And so he didn't believe. He said, the only one I would believe is Yudhishthira. Because Yudhishthira was famous for
truthfulness.
And he never spoke a lie. And so Krishna actually told Yudhishthira, okay, Yudhishthira, to save Arjuna, you have to lie. Tell Dronacharya is coming, tell him that Ashwatthama is there. But Yudhishthira refused. Krishna said, or Yudhishthira, for the sake of Arjuna, you lie. Then Yudhishthira said, let Arjuna die, let everyone die, let me die, but still I will not tell him. Then Krishna said, okay, Bhima, you go and kill that elephant called Ashwatthama. There was an elephant in the Kaurava side called Ashwatthama. No, in the Pandava side actually. They had an elephant called Ashwatthama. He said, kill that elephant, then probably our truthful brother will be able to tell the truth. And so Bhima immediately went and ripped the elephant into 2 pieces. And in the meantime, right at that time, Dronacharya arrived there. And Yudhishthira, then Krishna started to poke him, saying, tell him. So Yudhishthira said, Ashwatthama is dead, the elephant. In Sanskrit, the Ashwatthama, the elephant is dead. But in Sanskrit, the structure goes like Ashwatthama is dead, the elephant. But as soon as it says Ashwatthama is dead, Krishna blew his conch shell. And Dronacharya could not hear the elephant part of it. So he immediately dropped his weapons. And at that time, Drishtadumna, the son of Drupad, the brother of Draupadi, who was actually came out of the fire of sacrifice, who came out of the sacrificial fire just to kill Dronacharya, and who was the general of the Pandava army at that time, just came and beheaded Dronacharya. So in this way, Krishna favored the Pandavas in so many wonderful ways. But the Pandavas are lamenting now that all those difficulties are over now. Now they are situated in their kingdom. They're ruling over practically the whole world. And Krishna is not with them because Krishna doesn't feel that they need him anymore. The similar feelings was expressed by Mother Kunti, when Krishna was leaving Hastinapur for the first time, right after the battle of Kurukshetra. She prayed that Krishna, let there be more and more distresses so that we can get you with us, that we can get your association with us. So here Pandavas were planning how to bring Krishna back. They were thinking of organizing some sacrifice like Ashwamedha, Rajasuya. Because during the Rajasuya, when Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna came. That was before their exile. Krishna. So in this way, when they are planning, the Narada Muni arrived there, and they actually offered Narada Muni a seat, and they brought the paraphernalia to worship Narada. But Narada Muni took those worshipping paraphernalia and started to worship the Pandavas. So, however, Narada Muni started to worship them with those items and said, although some people received pure devotion during Sri Ramchandra's incarnation, spontaneous devotional service was unknown to this world. That spontaneous love of spiritual sentiment is manifest in the Pandavas. Therefore, the Pandavas, actually the sentence starts with inverted comma, but it doesn't end with the inverted comma. And actually, although some people received pure devotion during Sri Ramchandra's incarnation, spontaneous devotional service was unknown to this world. That spontaneous love of spiritual sentiment is manifest. So, anyway, you have to put it right. Like at the end of the sentence, you put after special mercy, you put an inverted comma and change it like, instead of Pandavas, you say you. Although some people received pure devotion during Sri Ramchandra's incarnation, spontaneous devotional service was unknown to this world. That spontaneous love of spiritual sentiment is manifest in you. Therefore, you are the real recipient of the Lord's special mercy. Or you can say, that items and say that, although some people receive pure devotion. Anyway, do it the way you want. The Pandavas are the greatest devotees of Krishna because the points are given here. So note these points carefully, because these are the important points. You see, it is not simply out of whims or sentiment that Sanatana Goswami or Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj is telling that this devotee is greater than the other one. But he is actually pointing out very systematically, with very sound and solid reasons, why these devotees are greater than the previous ones. Why the preceding devotees are greater than the preceding ones. Because Krishna became their dear friend, worshipable Lord, spiritual master, cousin, messenger, charioteer. He even became their servant, which we haven't found so far. Hanuman, at the most, he got an embrace from Lord Ramchandra. When Hanuman brought the news of Sita to Ramchandra, Ramchandra embraced him. But otherwise, Hanuman's position is at the feet of Ramchandra with folded hands. What's Hanuman's mellow? Hanuman's mellow is servitorship. But when does one embrace? In friendship. So Hanuman gets a tinge of that friendship. Also, one time Ramchandra asked Hanuman, what do you want? And Hanuman said, my lord, if you please, then please allow me. Please give me your embrace. So, the servitorship in Hanuman is turning into friendship to some extent. There is an abhash, just a shadow of friendship in Hanuman's servitorship, Hanuman's relationship with Ramchandra. But with Pandavas, it is more fully manifest. Like Krishna slept with Arjuna in the same bed. And they used to joke, they used to laugh, they used to even conspire. Arjuna wanted to marry Krishna's sister, Subhadra, who is actually Balaram's sister. And Krishna said, okay. Krishna got to know about it. Arjuna confided in him, he's a friend. So Krishna started to give him advice how he should go and steal Subhadra. He said it will be very difficult, to marry Subhadra because Balaram has some other plan. And Balaram is very fond of Subhadra. So you have to steal her. And it is alright. For a Kshatriya king, for a Kshatriya to steal a woman is alright. Of course, Kshatriya doesn't steal in the dead of the night. Kshatriya doesn't steal. Kshatriya claims. Kshatriya goes like a lion. Kshatriya is like a lion. Or a lion is like a Kshatriya. The lion will just go and grab whatever he wants. And then he would challenge, okay, is there anyone who wants to stop me? And the Kshatriya king would do that. He would just pick up the girl, the princess, and say, well, is there anyone who wants to stop me? Come, have a fight. The way Bhishma did when he went to the king of Kashi's palace, the palace of Kashi Raj, to claim Ambika, Ambika and Ambalika for his brother, Vichitra Virja. Bhishma actually took a vow that he'll never get married, but his brother became the successor to the throne, and it's a custom that when one ascends the throne, one must be married. And so the boy was young, so he wanted to get an appropriate match for his younger brother. So he thought that these three girls are the right match. And Amba, Ambika and Ambalika were actually incarnations of Durga. And so it was a Sayambara. They were about to select their own husbands. So the big arrangements was made, and all the kings came from different countries because they were very beautiful princesses. So the other kings also wanted to have them. And they were actually preparing to offer the garlands in acceptance of some king or some prince. But Bhishma just went and pulled them into his chariot. And he announced that I am Bhishma, son of Shantanu and grandson of Dilip. I am coming from this dynasty and I am claiming these girls for my brother Vichitra Virja, who ascended the throne or who is about to ascend the throne. So if there is anyone, come and try to stop me. And there was a big fight. There was a huge fight, especially Shalva, who was already in love with Amba, tried to stop with his army. But Bhishma just humiliated him, defeated all. Same thing happened when the Pandavas, when Arjuna won Draupadi in that Shayambara Sabha, all the kings attacked Arjuna. And then Bhim, Yudhishthir, Nakul and Sahadev came and stood by Arjuna, and they defeated all the kings. So this is how powerful these Kshatriyas were. So similarly, when Arjuna went to claim Subhadra, when Arjuna went to get Subhadra, there was a big opposition. Actually, Balaram was coming with the army. And when the news reached Balaram, he became furious. But then Krishna actually pacified him. Because if Balaram went, then no one could stop. No one could save Arjuna. Similarly, another time Balaram became angry with Bhima. Bhima actually killed Duryodhana by hitting him on the thigh, which is kind of as hitting below the belt. In a mess fight, a Kshatriya is not supposed to hit below the belt. And Duryodhana was very expert in mess fight. So Duryodhana learned the art of mess fight from Balaram. So he was a very expert in that with that weapon. And the Pandavas gave Duryodhana a choice. He said that you choose who you want to fight out of 5 of us and what weapon you want to take. So Duryodhana decided to fight against Bhima, and he selected the weapon, mess. And it was very difficult. Bhima, although he was very powerful, but Duryodhana was more skilled in that fight. And Bhima could not actually defeat Duryodhana. So then Krishna actually gave a sign that hit him on the thigh. Left thigh actually. And then Bhima just got up. Bhima gave a swing and broke Duryodhana. And Balaram also was present there at that time, and he became very angry with him. And mainly for 2 reasons. One reason is Bhima broke the law of warfare, Vedic law of warfare. And secondly, Duryodhana was very dear to Balaram. So he charged to kill Bhima with his plow. And then Krishna came and pacified Balaram. Krishna gave the reasons. He said that Bhima actually took a vow that he would kill Duryodhana by breaking his thigh. Because in the assembly, when Dushashan brought Draupadi, after the Pandavas lost, after Yudhishthira Maharaj lost Draupadi in a game of dice, then Draupadi was dragged by her hair, and at that time she was wearing only one piece of cloth. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so merciful, and Pandavas are so fortunate to receive His mercy. But then Narada Muni realized that he actually started to glorify the Lord instead of glorifying his devotees. So he checked his tongue by biting the tongue with his teeth. And he said, he actually chastised his tongue. He said, my uncontrolled tongue, I want to glorify the devotees, but you started to glorify Krishna. Then he started to glorify the Pandavas. Krishna loves the Pandavas just as they love him. Je jatha man prapaddante tangs tathaiva bhajam. As one deals with Krishna, Krishna reciprocates in a similar way. Krishna offered Yudhishthira the greatest glory by making him the king. He offered Bhima unequal fame by making him kill Jarasandha. Arjuna is known all over the world as his friend. Nakul and Sahadev are also very dear to him. He addressed Draupadi as my dear friend. He protected her from the fear of Durvasa and Dushashan. Vidura and Bhishma received Krishna's special favor because of their affection to the Pandavas. Bhishma and Vidura received Krishna's special favor because they were very affectionate towards the Pandavas. And Krishna himself announced in the assembly of the Kauravas, those who are inimical towards Pandavas are also my enemies. because they are as dear to me as my own life. The Pandavas felt extremely embarrassed hearing that and told Narada Muni, we cannot understand, in spite of repeated reasoning, what kind of mercy Krishna has upon us, because we have our kingdom back after killing our enemies, but instead of joy, we are feeling extreme pain. He acts as our messenger and charioteer, not because of his special favor upon us, but to establish dharma. The Pandavas then told Narada Muni that the Yadavas are really dear to Krishna. Therefore, they are the objects of Lord's real mercy. Narada Muni went to Dwarka and saw that the fortunate Yadavas were sitting in the Sudharma assembly waiting for Krishna's arrival. Sudharma assembly is the assembly in Dwarka where Ugrasena is the king. Ugrasena is the king of Dwarka, and for him Krishna actually brought the Sudharma assembly from heavenly planet. He forcibly brought it. Although Indra tried to resist Krishna, but Krishna just brought it to the earth planet. As soon as the Yadavas saw Narada, they ran to greet him, and Narada offered them obeisances. They picked him up from the ground and offered him a divine seat to sit on. Narada Muni sat down on the ground, and the Yadavas also sat on the ground around him. We can see how humble the devotees are. Although Yadavas are great kings, relatives of Krishna, and like they are so respectful to Narada Muni. And actually when Narada Muni, that will come later, when Narada Muni offered them obeisances, they felt very, very embarrassed. They said, please don't offer obeisances to us. Our worshipable Krishna even offers obeisances to you. So how can we take your obeisances? So from this statement we can understand that even Krishna, when he sees Narada Muni, he offers obeisances. So that is how the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees treat other devotees. The world of the devotee, the spiritual sky, is very sweet, very wonderful. Mainly because the reciprocation between the devotees there are so wonderful. And Narada Muni also, he was so overwhelmed with his appreciation of the Yadavas that he didn't, when they offered him a high seat, elevated seat, he didn't want to sit on that. He didn't want to accept that seat. He sat on the ground because he felt that his position was much inferior to the Yadavas. But how did the Yadavas reciprocate? Yadavas also, they said, who cares about this golden thrones and ornament, jewel seats? So they also sat around Narada Muni simply to have his association, simply to relish his association. When they brought the paraphernalia for worshipping him, Narada Muni got up and spoke to them with folded hands. You are specially blessed by Krishna. Please be kind upon me and offer me the blessing that I can sing your glories throughout the world. You can always see me, touch me. You can always see him, touch him, address him, sit with him, eat with him, sleep with him. Thus, you are related to him with a great bondage of love. Therefore, the Lord has forgotten about Vaikuntha and constantly providing you with an indescribable joy. So these are the reasons that Yudhishthira Maharaj and the father Pandavas actually gave, including Kunti Devi and Draupadi. That the Yadavas are greater devotees because Krishna is always with them. They are constantly enjoying Krishna's association. They are speaking with him, they are directly touching him, they are sitting with him, they are eating with him. Because they all are related to each other as members of the same family. Hearing these words, the Yadavas touched Narada's feet and told him, O most worshipable sage, you are worshipped even by our worshipable Krishna. Therefore, why are you offering obeisances to most fallen persons like ourselves? All our qualifications are simply due to our relationship to the Supreme Lord Krishna. But amongst us, Uddhava is extremely dear to Krishna. He is his minister, disciple, servant, and very dear friend. The Lord sends him on very special missions, such as the rescuing of Samba when he was captured by Bhishma, Drona, and other Kauravas. The Samba actually went to steal or went to get Duryodhana's daughter. And that time the Kaurava army attacked and captured Samba. And at that time Krishna actually sent Uddhava to mediate. Because Uddhava is Krishna's minister and Uddhava is very learned. Uddhava is a cousin of Krishna and Uddhava is a disciple of Brihaspati. The spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati, taught Uddhava the Vedic philosophy and different Vedic subjects. And here Sanatana Goswami mentioned, in the quote, or rather in the Tika commentary, it has been mentioned that the Yadavas did not mention about Krishna sending Uddhava to Vrindavan because that pastime is kept as a secret in Dwarka. They don't usually talk about Krishna's Vrindavan pastime because that's such a secret pastime. But they indicated that in such special missions, Krishna only sends Uddhava. Because Krishna's very intimate dealings are known to Uddhava. And Krishna reveals his heart to Uddhava. That he never does to anybody. Uddhava always remains with Krishna and receives his Mahaprasad. At night when Krishna goes to bed, Uddhava massages his feet. And when Krishna falls asleep, he places his lotus feet on his lap and then goes to sleep himself. He's so dear to Krishna that he even looks exactly like Krishna. Looks exactly like Krishna in the sense, actually Uddhava's complexion was golden originally. But due to tanmayata, due to complete absorption in Krishna, or due to his Krishna consciousness, his bodily complexion turned from gold into bluish. His complexion became like that of Krishna. And then he always used to wear Krishna's remnants. So Krishna, he would not wear anything that hasn't been used by Krishna. Therefore, he used to dress also like Krishna. So from a distance, Uddhava looked like Krishna, and Yadavas said that, by appearing like that, Uddhava gives us great pleasure by reminding us of Krishna, by making us think of Krishna. Narada Muni was about to go to see Uddhava, but Ugrasena said, "O best of the sages, unless ordered by Krishna, Uddhava never leaves him even for a moment. Please go inside and meet Uddhava." Because Narada Muni wanted to meet Uddhava, was about to go to see Uddhava, but Ugrasena reminded that Uddhava is actually in Krishna's inner chamber, because Uddhava is always with Krishna. And then he asked, "Today it's already so late and Krishna didn't come to the assembly. So please tell him that we all are waiting so that Uddhava brings Krishna quickly into the assembly." So that ends the 5th chapter of the first part, BrihadBhagvatamrita. Does anybody have any question? Arjun? Here they are described there. Yeah. You see, when Krishna comes, then qualified living entities get a chance, qualified devotees get a chance to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Now the demigods, because they worship, because their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in awe and reverence, they were born in the Jadu dynasty. they were asked to be born in the Jadu dynasty and became Krishna's associates in Dwarka. Now, you see, during Krishna's pastimes, some of Krishna's associates come with him from the spiritual sky, and some qualified living entities get a chance to participate in Krishna's pastimes and thus become qualified and go back to the spiritual sky. So we have to understand that these demigods are the qualified devotees who are almost eligible to go back to the spiritual sky, and they got a chance to participate in Krishna's pastimes on the earth planet. But their destiny will be Dwarka. Those demigods will not go to Vrindavan. But the pure devotees from earth planet, those who are related to the Gopas of Vrindavan, they will go back to Vrindavan. Oh yeah.
In the 11th canto, it's explained that those members of the Yadu dynasty, or at least men of the Yadu dynasty who were demigods, went to Prabhupada with Krishna.
Yeah.
And those who are the eternal associates remained in Dwarka.
You mean for the fight?
Yes, the ones at Prabhupada, they were all
demigods. Yeah.
But the eternal associates stayed in Dwarka until later, until after the fight was over.
Thank you. Yes?
When Ashwatam used his life for Ashwatam, at that time, where was Ashwatam?
Ashwatam was in the battlefield, fighting. In some other, the battlefield was huge. There was no way of knowing. But when some warrior, great warrior fell, then there would be some tumultuous uproar, and there would be an announcement, oh, he fell. So to kind of encourage the army. And they would be so excited, anyway, I was thinking of giving an example, like in a football game, when you make a score, then everybody gets excited and, starts shouting. So similarly in that battle, when some warrior died, then there would be some such uproarious exclamation. Yes.
Back in the earthly chapter, the Brahmin sent Narada Muni to the king because the king was doing something, worshipping Krishna, even though it wasn't necessarily part of his varnashram duties, and we described that as spontaneous devotional service. But here we see the Pandavas were recommended by Hanuman because they before the Pandavas there was no spontaneous devotional service and spontaneous platform, so there must be a different meaning of this spontaneous.
Yeah.
Precisely is that meaning?
You see, that one is like he is going out of his varnashrama requirement to render devotional service. That is the statement of the Brahmana. That, he is, although, I am doing it out of my varnashram responsibility, but he is doing it irrespective of his varnashram responsibility. Whereas here, it is a spontaneous love for Krishna, which is of such great degree that Krishna himself reciprocates spontaneously to their love. It's a kind of, coming onto the same platform. That's what friendship means. Right? The friendship is between equals. So Krishna lowered himself to their level to offer them his friendship. Shesha Prabhu, and then I'll take it.
Well, you mentioned about how nice the relationships are in the spiritual world. I know you also teach a course on Vaishnava etiquette. Is that what Vaishnava etiquette is based on, the dealings of the eternal associates of the Lord?
Yes. Actually, you see the Sanskrit word for Vaishnava etiquette is Vaishnav Shadachar. Now Shadachar, Shat Achar, Shat means eternal. The eternal dealings. The Vaishnavas are situated on the eternal platform. And their dealings are actually the standards that the Vaishnavas, the other Vaishnavas follow. And so that is, and Vaishnava etiquette is actually the pure spiritual etiquette. There is nothing, actually Vaishnava etiquette is not a formal etiquette. It is a spontaneous etiquette. Because when our hearts become purified, the way we feel towards each other, that is the Vaishnava etiquette. So main thing, the basis or the foundation of Vaishnava etiquette is love. And that love is actually love, prem, is exclusively meant for Krishna. But that prem is projected onto different individuals in a different way. Like on a Vaishnava platform, towards superior, that love is projected in a certain way, and towards the juniors, it's projected in a certain way. Towards the superior, it is respect, and towards the junior or towards the inferior, it is mercy. And among equals, it is friendship. But the basis is love for Krishna. Why? Like this, then we have to come to the Madhyamadikari, this definition of a Madhyamadikari devotee. Of course, that's on the material plane. But the Madhyamadikari is making the discrimination. Right? Like Ishware Tadodhineshu Balisheshu Dhisatsucha. Love for Krishna, Tadodhineshu towards the devotees, friendship, Balisheshu towards the innocent, compassion or mercy, and Upekha, neglect for the demon. So it is love for Krishna which is reflected on the devotees in the form of friendship. Because they have a common loving object. Now towards the innocent it's in the form of compassion. Oh, this person doesn't know about Krishna. So how much he is missing? He doesn't know about Krishna. He doesn't know what he is missing. So let me give him Krishna. And this person cannot stand Krishna. So I better avoid him. Because if I glorify Krishna in front of him, he'll become more offensive. So it is the main consideration is actually love for Krishna. And that's projected in different individuals in a different way. So in the spiritual platform also it's the same. Like the center of love is Krishna. And that love is reflected on different individuals in a different way. He loves Krishna, so I love him. And of course in Vrindavan that love has a very specific shape also. Another further specified shape, that is love for Radharani. The followers of Radharani, their main concern is the love for Radha is the main consideration. Or love for, say Nanda Maharaj's followers, their love for Nanda Maharaj. Jasoda's followers, their love for Jasoda. So they are not directly loving Krishna. Their love is going via the medium of some devotees of Krishna. Actually, once Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was doing the parikrama of Radha Kund. And at that time, some devotees from Rajasthan also were doing the parikrama of Radha Kund. So, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked his disciples, what was the difference between their parikrama and those Rajasthani devotees' parikrama? And then finally he explained that they are doing the parikrama because because their understanding is that because Radha is dear to Krishna, therefore they are doing the parikrama of Radha. But our parikrama is because Krishna is dear to Radha, and therefore we actually for us our main concern is Srimati Radharani. Radharani loves Krishna, that's why we love Krishna. That is the Gaudiya Vaishnava's mood. So another, so another example is to define what Gaudiya Vaishnava is. One who is a devotee of Vishnu is Vaishnava. One who is a devotee of Krishna is Kashna. But one who is a devotee of Srimati Radharani is Gaudiya. Okay, Mataji. Who?
Subhadra's mother and father.
Subhadра's mother, Vasudeva and Rohini.
And Balaram was affectionate always to Duryodhana. And also one time Dronacharya said, you're more deeply than my own son. And Vishnu fought for him. But when we think about Duryodhana, we think, envious and he had very bad qualities. But he must also have good qualities for those people to...
Yeah. That's why we have to understand that these are special personalities. Like one cannot enter into Krishna's pastimes unless one is a very specially favored by Krishna. Like Krishna Maharaj was explaining in the class this morning, that Krishna's pastimes are somewhat like a play on a stage. Now when a king enacts a play, right, then who participates in that play? Obviously Krishna, the king's intimate associates. Like in that play there may be somebody is a hero and the king is the hero and there is a villain, right? But in reality the villain is also actually king's own intimate man. Yeah, so thank you very much. All glories to Prabhupada.